All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This video comes from CNN and it's titled, Deion Sanders receives backlash for leaving HBCU to go to Colorado. Now, Deion Sanders was at Jackson State, a HBCU, and he did good things while he was at the school. They had a good record. He took care of them. But, you know, there's always going to be critics no matter what you do, and he's being called a sellout for leaving the HBCU to go to Colorado. All right, now we about to roll this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we watching. Now let's roll it.
So you know Shannon Sharpe, right?
Yes.
So and you've heard his comments.
Yes.
I'm sure. I want to play them for our audience because Shannon Sharpe has a sort of a rising tide lifts all boats. If he did it for Jackson State, then maybe that helped the entire HBCU. Let's play this, and I want your response to it.
Deion did something that very few coaches are able to do. He leveraged his relationships. Skip, no football team had more uniforms than Jackson State except the University of Oregon. Under Armour, every single week, they got new helmets. They got new unis. He did this with Walmart. He took $150,000 of his salary and helped finish building the facilities.
He did?
He leveraged his relationship with American Airlines. He brought eyes to HBCUs, Skip. There wasn't nobody talking about HBCUs, especially now. They're talking about, they're on television. That's because of him. He gave you a blueprint. Now follow the blueprint.
He's saying,
yeah, I mean, before they get into it, I definitely got to agree with Skip. I mean, you can't expect the man to stay there forever. He got to think about his own career too, and in his own dreams. Like, you know, it probably was a dream of his to go to HBCU, become a coach, and have a winning team and do a great job and do good things for the HBCU, which he did. But that don't mean that the buck stopped there. He had bigger plans. He had bigger dreams of going to a big university like Colorado, and he wants to get a championship over there. I'm not mad at him. I think people need to be happy for him elevating. And they need to be grateful for what he did for the HBCU, for putting HBCUs on the map, and for, you know, taking care of business down at Jackson State while he was there.
I think basically mission accomplished. What do you think?
Well, I mean, part of it, and I love Shannon to death, part of where I disagree with him is so much of that was singular to Deion Sanders. Like, we do have to admit that he is the charismatic individual. Like, just because Deion could do it doesn't mean that everybody else can do it. That's the first part. The second thing, they're going to play in the Celebration Bowl, I believe, next week in Atlanta against the champions of the MEAC. They played in that bowl game last year. South Carolina State blew their doors off in that game. Do you know the head coach at South Carolina State? Can you name a single player at South Carolina State? I can't. It brought attention to Deion. It brought attention to Jackson State. You weren't going to bring attention to all these other schools in the time period that he was there. Like, if he was really going to accomplish that, that's a 10-year program, at least.
You're saying he had to stay.
Yeah.
And so 60 Minutes profiled him just like a month or two ago. And it was on that program. He said, I believe that God called me collect and I had to accept the charges. And then he said this. Let's play it.
It's a lot of folks sit back with Twitter fingers and talk about what they're going to do. And I wanted to go do it.
Do what?
Change lives, change the perspective of HBCU football, make everyone step up to the plate and do what's right by these kids.
So it sounds like he really wanted to be an example for other coaches and just an example for other black men probably to rise to the occasion and do the best they can and try to do the best they can at a HBCU. Like I said, just the fact that he came and gave a F and, you know, and actually did good there is what should really matter to me. You know, it seems ungrateful to call him a sellout.
Didn't he do that at least by starting it? And now, as Shannon was saying, is it up to others to carry it forward?
I mean, if he can go find another Deion Sanders, right? Like, that's the thing of this, is that if you're talking about establishing something long term, right? Something that is sustainable, the idea he got it started, now you go do it. I don't.
Aren't you making his blueprint argument? Because there are others who are in the NFL or former NFL players who are charismatic,
who could do it,
and who could step into
Deion
other
Sanders has
HBCUs.
spent the last 35 years telling us there ain't but one Deion Sanders. And now he's telling us go find somebody else to do what Deion Sanders does. You can't have this both ways. I don't judge him for taking the job at Colorado. They probably increased his salary by something like 15 times, right? I totally get that. It all makes sense. But what he did was something that college coaches do all the time, which is you have to sell people.
So now he's a Pac-12 football coach, man. He made it. Like I said, celebrate him. You know, he's still, if representation is something that you care about so much, he's still representing for black people by being a head coach there. You know what I'm saying? If he managed to win it, that'd be huge.
4-year, 10-year plans when your plan is always 1 year at a time. That's the only way that you could really pull that off. And so he came in and he sold a long-term vision for what was going on at Jackson State, but his goals and ambitions were always to be a Power 5 head coach. My take has always been he went to Jackson State primarily because he wanted to be a head coach, but didn't want to ever be anybody's assistant coach. So he had to find somebody that would give him a job and make him a head coach, and so he could have that on his resume, and then he could take that to try to get the job that he actually wanted. Jackson State was the place that could do it, and he did a lot of good work while he was at Jackson State. But all the bigger, grandiose notions of what he was doing for somebody else, no, it was what it always is. He did it for Deion, and that's fine if you don't tell us that you're trying to do this for somebody else.
But can't he do both? Can't he go to a program and be there for 3 years, only have 5 losses like he did, and bring the attention? Maybe the next person won't be, you know, prime time. They won't be as charismatic as he is, but he still did bring attention to it. And what I've seen from the athletic director and other people is they were grateful for him, and they talked about him.
I can't believe I'm actually siding with CNN panelists, but I think they getting this on the money. And this dude really sounds upset because Deion left. That's really what his whole argument is based on, the fact that he came in there making it seem like he wanted to stay for a long time and really make this his home, but then, he gets up and he goes away. But you can't expect Deion Sanders to stay there for, like I said, for 5 or 10 years when he has other opportunities that could elevate him even further. And besides, you never know. So he left Jackson State, the HBCU. Okay, now he's going to Colorado. He might be able to do good things. He might be able to do good things in Colorado that he could take and come back and give back even more. He might be able to get some really good young black players on the team. Like I just don't understand why. Because let's be real. Critics accuse Deion Sanders of being a sellout. The only critics are black people. Black people accusing Deion Sanders of being a sellout. But just because he left the HBCU, that doesn't mean that he can't still continue to do good things. To put on for black people, man. It's ridiculous. Like being black, you can't even. People don't even want to see you succeed if you're not doing it the way that they tell you to do it. Like, it's ridiculous. All right, guys. So that's the video. From what I could take from it, Bomani Jones, this guy who was speaking on this, he's upset. His main criticism is Deion Sanders initially coming to the school saying that this is God's plan. I'm here to stay. I can't speak on Deion Sanders' words going into Jackson State because I don't have them here. I don't know what Deion said, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's right to be mad at someone or to even. You can be critical all you want. I can't stop anyone from criticizing, but let him fulfill his dreams and achieve what he wants to achieve. I think it's selfish to want to keep Deion Sanders in the box of HBCUs when Deion Sanders was a huge NFL player, and he probably got the knowledge of the game and the experience to be a coach that could coach at any school, a big school, and even win them a title possibly. But that's it for the reaction, you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment on your way out the door. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.